This is Andy Gutierrez from StarWars.com, and you are listening to Coffee with Kenobi with Dan Z. This is the podcast you're looking for.
This is James Arnold Taylor, and you're listening to Coffee with Kenobi. I have a good feeling about this.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of CWK Live every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm your host, Dan Zare, thrilled to be talking Star Wars with each and every one of you. Well, look at all of our dear friends here with us. Minta is here. This is the way. It's CWK Day. Good to see you, Minta. Mary is here. Happy Bad Batch Eve to you, Mary. Terry is here. Hello, Terry. Good to see you. And Blake returns. Good to see you, man. He says, hey, CWK fam. Good to see you, buddy. Josh is here and wants to know who is ready to discuss the law of military occupation. Well, I am glad we have an intelligent, savvy lawyer like yourself here to help us with that particular topic. Jason is here along with Henrik, and they are ready to go. Well, hello, friends. Good to see you both. Ross is here. Hello, Batchers. Hello, Ross. Good to see you, man. Ross, of course, was one of my featured guests last week, along with Neil Baker, discussing the 7th episode of Willow. Darren is back. Hello, Darren. What's up, my friend? Good to see you. Ben is here. Good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. And Mary says to Jason, good to see Henrik back. It is so nice. Good to see you all back. Well, it's a cool show. Oh, look at who else is here. It's LJ Souter. LJ, who we can thank for the amazing camera work last week for Steam into Star Wars. So thank you so much. Again, LJ, thank you to all of you for taking time out of your busy schedules to join me. I really appreciate that so much. And we've got a nice little crowd here, which is wonderful because we've got quite a fun show for you tonight. We're going to talk about your top 5 moments from the Bad Batch's 3rd episode, The Solitary Clone, focusing very much on the rogue Bad Batch member, who of course is Crosshair. And then we've got some Indiana Jones merchandise to discuss. And wow, did I misspell the word merchandise. Okay, great. Ross says Joe Burrow has arrived. Ooh. And I think your lineman, number 98, is still inhaling oxygen after that 98-yard touchdown run. Well, that was pretty exciting. All right, let's do it. Let's go ahead and see what is brewing in the world of Star Wars this week. Ben would like to know who... Oh, gee, what's going on there? Ben would like to know who is excited for The Mandalorian. You know what? I sure am. Where did my camera go? There's sort of a camera. Interesting. I'm just floating around. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and go to the next slide. I don't know what happened there. Okay. Not now. A little bit of behind the scenes fun. All right, let's try this. Did that work? That worked. That worked. Now, we're definitely going to talk about The Mandalorian, Ben, for sure. But for now, we're going to talk about Indiana Jones merchandise that was just revealed. A couple, let's see, they had the live stream last week. It was basically, I think, the day or two after we'd last did CWK Live. We've got some great, exciting new things from Hasbro. This is, of course, the resurgence of Indiana Jones with Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny coming out in June of 2023. Boy, is that going to be a fun month between that and the Star Cruiser with all of you. It's going to be so much fun. Holy cow. I can't believe it. I'd like pinch myself. I'm dreaming here. Okay, so these are the retro figures that are coming out. You've got Tote on the left. And then on the right is a really special figure. This is Belloc. So Belloc was originally in the first line, but he was only available as a mail-away figure. I never had the original Belloc. And what's cool about this is that when he was shipped to you, and I know this because of my good friend Jeff McGee from Marvin Dog Media. You may know him from the Talking Toys with Taylor and Jeff podcast. But he told me, look, Belloc was available before, but only as a mail-away figure, and he was never on a card. He was always in like a little cardboard box with everything that you see. I believe the staff was there too. But he didn't come on card. So it's pretty cool that the retro line is going to have that. Minta says, those look amazing. I know, Minta. So fun. Blake says he's been to a ton of toy shows down here, and I've rarely seen indie stuff, so this is cool to see. Oh, good. Yeah, I feel like there weren't a ton made, and it was just they were really rare. And I don't know if the demand met what they wanted, so they didn't produce as many. I'm not really sure. But I know this. I know I'm excited for all these. On the left is a German mechanic, which I do not remember from the original line. But he obviously is an important aspect of the Raiders of the Lost Ark film. So you got the German mechanic on the left. Again, these are the retro figures. And then on the right, you've got Marion Ravenwood. By the way, the original Marion Ravenwood, it's not the retro, but the same exact figure. I think that's one of the hardest ones to find on card in the secondary market. So really cool. Ross says it's going to be so cool to see them on the pegs in stores. I can't even tell you. I mean, I don't have to tell you. You know how I feel. You're the same way. We're all the same way. It's going to be just wonderful. Brian is here. What's up, Brian? This is the Tuesday. Great to see you, man. Really great to see. We're just looking at these Indiana Jones figures that were announced last week. Then we have, these are the Adventure series, which is what they're calling their version of the Black series. This is Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. I think this is called Professor. No, this is Indiana Jones in Club Obi-Wan, and he's holding that that is the diamond that, of course, he almost loses his life over, and that's a brand new figure, which is amazing. Of course, all these Adventure series / 6-inch series are brand new. There's Professor Dr. Jones. This is from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade in the library scene, and I believe when I posted this earlier, our favorite bow tie wearer, Josh, said he's got to get that figure. And you do, Josh. Again, this is a 6-inch from the Adventure line. Now, this is fun. So this is the main villain, of course, from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, Walter Donovan. On the right is Walter Donovan as he is. And then to the left is the figure of him when he drinks from the cup of Christ, the Holy Grail itself. And you can switch out the head sculpt. So that's pretty cool. People are really loving that. Minta says, does anyone have enough room for these figures? No, I don't. But gosh, you got, it's indie. So it's worth it, right? So there's some new, these are like the smaller figures. These are more for the kiddos to enjoy and play with. This is Helena Shaw. This is one of the new characters from the upcoming Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny film. She comes with a motorcycle, and it looks like some sort of a net. I don't know. I don't have any context for this because I haven't seen the movie, of course. But so that's a new character. She is going to be the niece of Indiana Jones. I believe that's what they have said so far in the official stuff. Okay. And then we've got Dr. Jürgen Voller. My German's a little rusty, but he appears to be one of the main bad guys. He sure looks a lot like Tote. And he comes with this really cool airplane. Again, it's got a lot of playable action with it, too. Play says, I want a figure of the guy pushing the Ark of the Covenant in a warehouse. Background characters sell. I'd be fine with that. I think it would sell. I certainly think so. Make them exclusive for collectors. Because here's the Indiana Jones version. I believe this is called the Adventurers Pack, and it's got basically a greatest hits, the fun and exciting moments from Raiders of the Lost Ark. You've got the boulder, you've got the spiders, you've got a cobra, you've got the Chachaputin idol. You've got it all, man. Very fun for the kiddos to play with. This is a taller one. It has a whip action, and it's got some sound effects to it. So it's playable, and it's basically the electronic figure. A pretty decent likeness of Harrison. And there is the Indiana Jones Monopoly. There have been previous Monopoly ones, I know, because we have one. But this one will cover all the new stuff, too. Mary says, Blake, that would be the top people. That's right, top men. Terry wants you to know, Blake, that it might be, the rumor is that it's the jeans guy from The Mandalorian. Ooh, that is a bit of a spoiler, isn't it? How exciting. Okay, so there you go. Now, I'm going to shift back to my regular camera because I want to show you something pretty cool. So those of you who or longtime collectors. So the retro line is the one I just showcased. There's a couple of them that I shared with you from the original retro line, but I have my original 3 3/4 inch Kenner Indiana Jones figures. Got them here in the office. Here is Dr. Jones himself, Indiana Jones. He's still in remarkably good shape. I do have the figures of him, or his weapons upstairs in the attic, but these figures were made with basically action features with them, like the superpowers figures. But this one, he has he can crack his whip. He pull his hand back and, whoops, let me see if I can get that better for you. Oh gosh. So pretty cool, right? So there's what Indy's going to look like. This is not the retro line, but this is what the figure is based on or made after. Let me get the lighting right here. I really want you to see this dude. How's that? Is that better? Is that a little bit better? So there is Indiana Jones himself. Again, this is the original. This is the original figure. There you go. Come on, lighting, help me out. I tried to dim this lighting, but I'd replaced the battery. When I did, the control stopped working, so that's nice. Brian says, do you pull his arm back to do the quick draw? You can do that too. Let's try it. Oh, it got stuck on his holster. Yep, it does. I'm not going to do that too much because I don't want to ruin the spring, but I'm that guy. But he is. I do love him. It's Indy. Okay, I also have Marion Ravenwood. I don't have her on card still, unfortunately, but this is Marion Ravenwood with her white dress from, of course, Raiders of the Lost Ark. So that's cool. I've got Tote. So the cool thing about Tote, this coat comes off. It's like a plastic coat, just like it comes off in the film. But then his hand has the insignia on it of the headpiece of staff of Ra. It's burned into his hand. Again, I apologize for the lighting here, but that is the original Tote figure. Okay. Then we have the Cairo Swordsman. He comes, of course, with a massive... As far as I know, there's no retro one announced for him yet. But this is what the original Kenner one looks like. Boy. So fun. I love these. That's a better angle. Then we have Sala. This is Sala. Of course, everyone loves Sala. It was really great to see him announced or revealed in the trailer. And then this is one I forgot that I had. I forgot that they made. But this is Indiana Jones in his German soldier disguise. And his hand moves because he has that rocket launcher bazooka in his hand for the climactic moment before the Ark is opened up. So far, we've got Tote, Marion, the German mechanic. We've got Indiana Jones, and we've got Belloc from the retro line. That's all we've got announced so far. So this is my original ones, proudly displayed in the CWK studio. But I wanted to show you that because I thought that was a lot of fun. Okay, does anybody else have these guys? Does anybody else have them? I would love to. I'd love to see that. Post your pictures in the CWK Cafe. It's so much fun, by the way. The CWK Cafe. I think most of you here, as far as I can tell, are active members in our Facebook group. It's completely free. You don't have to be invited. It's a great place for Star Wars conversation. It's positive. It's family friendly. It's spoiler free. We have a good time posting pictures of our collections and talking about all kinds of fun things. Blake wants to know whether there are only figures during the release of the films, nothing between the 80s till now. Not really. They only had them out during Raiders of the Lost Ark. I believe this came out in 1981. When the film did, I'd have to look that up. But there were a couple of figures from Playmate. Was it Playmate Toys or Galoob? There were a couple of Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom figures, but they were a different scale. Nowhere near as cool. I didn't get those, but that's all they had. Oh, well. Now I think about it, when Kingdom of the Crystal Skull came out, there was a ton of newer figures, and I have got a bunch of those too. But I don't have them out here on display yet. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. Let's do our top 5. Pardon me, I had to sneeze, so I had to mute that microphone. You don't want to hear that. So we're going to do our top 5 moments from the Bad Batch, the solitary clone. Again, this is completely focused on Crosshair. Some great surprise appearances and some compelling topics for conversation, which you may have heard if you listen to Coffee with Kenobi, and I think everyone here does, which is wonderful. But it was me, Colby Mead, and Mason's there, my son. We talked about the Bad Batch of Solitary Clone. And look, Mason is busy right now doing stuff with his mom. So I can tell you this. He was so fun. I set him up. I think I said this on the show. I'm not sure, but we set up his computer in his room. I gave him a spare microphone and some headphones. And so I did it in my studio. He did his from his room, and then Colby Mead joined us from Los Angeles. And the three of us just chatted. And we talked about the episode. And it was so much fun. I really appreciate Colby being so fun with Mason. And Mason, of course, has been talking to all of you, gosh, since he was, 3-4 years old? So, yeah, a little bit of a brag there on my guy. Had to do that. And he'll be joining me for all of the Bad Batch breakdowns, which is great. And as we know, as Mary told us, it is Bad Batch Eve after all. But let's talk about this one, okay? Let's talk about the solitary clone. My number 5 is High Five. It's really nothing more important than 2 battle droids high-fiving each other. Why did I make my top 5? Because it was great. It's just so cute and entertaining, and I've said this many times, but the battle droids have a different meaning for me. Since Mason was a kid, they made him laugh, and they still make him laugh. So when those two high-fived, we got a big chuckle out of that. And Star Wars, one of the main reasons I love it, and why so many of you love it, is because of the great memories that it gives us. So High Five is my number 5. Okay, 5 for Blake. Crosshair's trick shot at the end of the mission. Of all the Bad Batches, had the most fist-pumping action scenes for me personally. You're not going to get any argument from me on that, Blake. He is awesome. He's not awesome, but when he fights, he's awesome. The fist-pumping action is a good description. Minta's 5 is Reunion. It was great to see Cody team up with Crosshair. It was easy to see that he was having his doubts about the former member of the Bad Batch. Yeah, there's some tension, but it's very underplayed, and I like that. I thought that was interesting. Mary's number 5 is Kevin Kiner's music and the amazing visuals. Yes, I'm glad you brought up Kevin Kiner. This one felt so much like a Clone Wars episode. As I said in the cafe, we're just missing Tom Kane introducing the episode. Yeah, I was glad you put that, Mary. And I thought, man, if only Tom Kane could be a part of this, because that would just be so cool. But it's I understand why they did it. It's a different show. And of course, Tom Kane is not able to do voice work right now, unfortunately. But you're right. It just felt like a love letter to fans of the Clone Wars. So good. Terry's number 5. It felt as if Commander Cody's first conversation with Crosshair could be interpreted as a test of allegiance. Oh, interesting, Terry. I hadn't thought of it that way, but that definitely plays out. Jason's number 5 is Clones and Clankers and Cody. Oh my, so many Clone Wars vibes. And Henrik's Cody trying to avoid killing Tawny Ames. Yeah, there was so much tense in there, wasn't there, Henrik? That was... the effect there was palpable, for sure. Ross, number 5, a tactical droid, droidicas, commando droids, and battle droids. Roger, Roger. Roger, Roger, indeed. I should have a little sound effect of that. Ben's number 5. Commander Cody returns. I like this new idea of clones going AWOL, like the chip was only temporarily effective. So that's what I've been wondering, too. Is the chip temporary? Does it just run out of juice after a while? I mean, is it like a USB where you got to charge it up? I don't know, but... And it sounded like if he would have taken it out, he wouldn't still be working for the Empire, you wouldn't think. So, good thoughts there, man. Really good thoughts. Darren's number 5, Crosshair's meal being interrupted twice. That's right, 2 times. And he just kind of gets up, and Crosshair doesn't seem like someone I would want to interrupt his meal. But, it did happen twice. Love that. Jen's number 5. Hello, Jen. Welcome to the show. Jen says, Droidicas. The fight brought me back to the Clone Wars, except I was rooting for the wrong side. Yes. Fascinating, right? I like how they do that to us. Brian's number 5. The arrogance of the Empire to send in a very shiny governor to take over Desix. Yeah, and that guy, boy, pardon me, but what a tool that guy was. I mean, seriously. All right. Mary says, Darren, this is an honorable mention for me. Poor guy, they just wouldn't let him eat. Yes. So, I mean, Crosshair is, if he gets hangry, cranky when he's hungry, look out, man. Okay. Let's go ahead and jump into number 4. I got to say hangry in a Coffee with Kenobi. How nice. Trick shots. Blake just mentioned this. I'm going to compile the two together at the end when he has Cody throw up those little mirror discs that stick to the wall. And then earlier, I'm combining the two. Earlier, when he shoots down the tank turret and there's that big explosion. Those two trick shots remind us of why we can't help but be enamored, or not enamored, but drawn to Crosshair because of his immense talent with a rifle. Okay. Number 4 for Minta is the Battle Droids High Five. A great way to do a callback to the Clone Wars series. Absolutely. My number 4. Number 4 for Mary's return of all the droids. Yeah, it was like a greatest hits, wasn't it, of droids from the Clone Wars. Terry's number 4, the Stormtrooper clones fighting sequence against the battle droids gave me the feels of the many battles they had in Clone Wars. Yeah, see that, it's just so cool, right? Just that immense appreciation we have for that great series. Ross is for the Empire already rotting from within as Admiral Rampart and Governor Groden epitomized corruption and opportunism. Already rotting from within in the early stages, too. That's right. Corruption does not breed compatibility, does it? Jason's 4. The animation and tactics of the firefights. Love that. And Henrik's 4 is Crosshair shooting the droids in the stairwell. Such a cool scene, right? That's going to be a highlight for so many of us. Mary's number 4 continued. Hit enter too fast. No problem. The high five, the Roger, Matt Wood back, who's awesome. Blake's 4, seeing battle droids reused by certain planets. It makes sense to think they could be repurposed for good in parts of the galaxy after the war ended. Yeah, I was wondering about that too. I like, there's much more realism when you see things like this in a very fictional universe. Ben's 4 is a tank barrel trick shot. Such a cool trick that only Crosshair could pull off. I also just like seeing his steadiness through the actual Crosshair. Yeah, it was a good cinematography there, the way they set that up. Jen's number 4, the subtle differences in the phrasing that Crosshair and Cody use. Cody says, good soldiers follow orders. Due to his inhibitor chip, but Crosshair never says that exact phrase. No. The way he kind of mumbles that, it makes you wonder, where he was for Order 66. I mean, well, we know where he was, but how quickly it wore off, or did he get the chip out, or what exactly happened there? I don't know. Let's go to number 3. Number 3, I put Solitary Life. So there's a specific moment. There's actually 2 moments I mean when I say that. The first is when we first see Crosshair in his bunk, which really looks more like a cell than a bunk. He's very by himself. When he goes out to eat, before he's interrupted by the announcement from Admiral Rampart's officers, the clones don't want to sit by him, and they, very much like a high school lunchroom, or probably more like a junior high lunchroom, they pick up their trays and walk away from him. And then at the end, we also see he's by himself too. So Crosshair has a very lonely life where he's very loyal to what he thinks is the right cause, but he's not made any friends because of it. At least before, when he was abrasive, at least he had his brothers in Clone Force 99. But he's got the solitary life, and it says a lot about him. It's tragic, but you also realize, he had this coming because this is the choices that he made. Brian's 4 destroyers. I was pumping my fist when we heard them rolling out before we saw them. Those things are so cool. Like they're one of the coolest things George ever created, I think. The droidicas. Number 3 for me, to those trick shots that Cody and Crosshair pulled off made my jaws drop. Yeah, that was so cool. Ben said, love the observation, Jen. Cody didn't say it very convincingly. Yeah, it was very much like skeptically going through the motions, not ashamed to be like, yeah, I'm not buying that. That's very much how Cody came across. Brian 3, Tawny Ames dropping that Dooku shared that the Empire would replace the Republic. How corrupt everything is, and it continues to be. Absolutely. Jason's 3, Crosshair taking out the droids in the stairwell. Really nice to see him back in action, even if he's still on the wrong side. I hope Cody's influence sinks in and helps pry Crosshair loose from the Empire. Me too. Hendrix number 3 is Crosshair's sniping. He's awesome. Like, you would not want to play him in Fortnite because it would not last very long. Jen's 3, the striking visual of the war memorial behind Cody and Crosshair as they discuss the Empire. It's the first battle memorial made of Geonosian stone. It adds so much more weight to all their conversations. Weight? Stone? Did you do that on purpose, Jen? That's a nice little pun there. You're right. Did anyone bother, by the way, sorry, I couldn't resist. Anyone bother translating some of the Orabesh? I'm sure someone astutely has online. I didn't do that, but I would like to see what it says. Mary's number 3, Crosshair's sniping skills, getting the shot straight down the barrel of the tank, and then the shots he takes going up the tower stairs. Yes, he's a show stealer when he does that. Blake's 3, the scene where the politicians they're going after was executed. It's a sad moment. You see how Cody is questioning things. Crosshair pulls the trigger, but it left me wondering if he really wanted to. I wondered that too. The problem is that he still did it. So I know it's not easy. There's so much gray with Crosshair. Although I say he leans more towards dark, but yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean, Blake. Terry's 3, Cody truly felt as if the Empire was helping, but eventually came to a different realization when Tawny Ames was killed and then deserted. You know, I'm glad you both brought that up. I didn't bring up that moment, but I was certainly thinking about it. Narratively, it had the most weight. Ross's 3, Desix is another example of an independent/separatist system being forcefully taken by the Empire. And boy, they really rack them up, don't they? We have plenty of examples. Ben's number 3, Crosshair's solitude. They really do a good job of showing just how alone he is. Morale is really low among the troops, and even if he isn't receiving any remorse from his comrades, I felt a bit for Crosshair in those lonely scenes. Me too. That was why I put that for my 3. You feel bad for him. Darren says showing how alone Crosshair is was powerful. Yeah, it's, again, none of this is easy. I like I like when they're showing complexity of these characters, both with this and with Andor. Pretty cool that an animated show can do that. Number 2 for me is the Rampart and Crosshair dialogue. There are 2 moments. The end of the episode, certainly, but I'm really more thinking of the beginning. When he first recruits Crosshair for this mission, he very condescendingly says, yeah, you're not going to be in charge of any troopers for a while, or however he phrases that. But there's not really tension because Crosshair really sort of above that. But you can tell he very much realizes that he is not being treated as an equal or valued for the gifts that he has as a soldier. And I'm sure his pride has got to be impacted by that. Minta's 2. The scene between Tawny, Cody, and Crosshair was intense. Cody was trying to use a more diplomatic approach in order to keep the peace, but Crosshair made no hesitation to take her down, thus cementing in his way that good soldiers follow orders. Very well said, Minta. Very well said. Rampart. 2 for Brian is Rampart using Crosshair as a tool to test his loyalty on these missions. And that's really what it is, isn't it? Like a test. Which is really, well, I understand it, but again, problematic. Nothing cut and dry about this. Number 2 for Ross is Crosshair being referenced to as only CT-9904 and not being welcome amongst other clones. He's turning into Michael Douglas's character from Falling Down. Well, that's an interesting comparison. Bit of a deep cut. I like that. Very cool. Jason's 2. Cody's sense of honor exemplified in his negotiations with Tawny Ames, as well as still calling clones by their names instead of their numbers. Yeah, always important. Naming always so important. Hendrix number 2 is seeing Cody again, my favorite clone. So, Hendrik, that's Mason's favorite too. It's one of Mason's favorite characters, Cody is. He was really fired up about this one. 2 for Terry. Learning about the treaties from Separatists and Republic senators presented to Chancellor Palpatine that he rejected to keep the war going. Interesting, right? The more we learn about Palpatine, just when you think you've heard all about this guy, he does something else slimy. Number 2 for Mary is Cody being the negotiator, using some of the skills he witnessed Obi-Wan use so many times during the Clone Wars. Oh, that's a cool I like that. Like Obi-Wan rubbed off on him. That's great, Mary. That's cool. Ben's number 2. Cody and Crosshair team up. They just made a great team for the whole episode. One volleys, the other spikes. Of course, the mirror shot was the best example of this. One volleys, the other spikes. That is outstanding. I love that sports metaphor. Gens, too, as others have said, I love all the quiet scenes showing just how alone Crosshair is. I feel bad for him even though he's on the wrong side. I feel similarly about Daedra from Andor. I do too, although personally I feel much worse for Daedra because she didn't really do anything but try to be loyal to Cassian, whereas Crosshair has murdered innocent people. But, you'd like to think, oh, yeah, it's just so hard to talk about Crosshair, isn't it? It deserves more exploration. I think that's the beauty of his character. Number 2 for Blake, seeing how the Empire was so oppressive on planets. I think this series has done the best job of showing how evil they were in this time period. I agree. I would put that with Rebels and what they did on Lothal, but yeah, I totally agree. So let's go to number 1. Number 1, I'm doing the drum roll a little too late. For me, it's the clone droid difference. It very much plays into the end of the conversation that Cody and Crosshair has, where he says, the difference between us and droids. In essence, Cody says, we can think for ourselves. Very much calling Crosshair out. Are you thinking for yourself? Or are you programmed too, dude? What is your agenda? What is your motivation? Are you thinking for yourself? Or are you just blindly following the Empire? Clearly, he does not have the interests of the galaxy or peace in mind. And that philosophical, quick conversation shows the power of character and dialogue. That is earned, as an audience, we trust it because they've earned it as storytellers. And it's brilliant. I love it. Okay. Let's go back. Minta's number 1, Crosshair's solitude. He's shunned by his kin since he built a rep of clones abandoning him at a drop of a hat. Towards the end of the episode, when he's in his bunker, it seems that he was slowly starting to question if he had made the right choice of staying in the Empire, even if that meant sacrificing all his ties to his past indefinitely. And that's certainly what it seems to have picked. Darren is wondering what the power of the chip is versus the will/realization of what is going on for both Crosshair and Cody. How much might this influence Crosshair to desert? I'm not positive that he still has an implanted chip or not. I'm not either, Darren. And then he says, plus seeing Cody's reaction to what is going on. So much to look forward to. Jason and Henrik's number 1 is the same. Cody going AWOL and leaving the Empire. I know. I hope we get to see him again because this is a story we need to know more about. Terry's number 1 is learning that Crosshair, like the rest of the Bad Batch clones, is not a conformist, and see what may be a seed of doubt sprouting after his final conversation with Cody. I sure hope so because I noticed that too. I'm sure you all did. Ross's number 1 is Commander Cody. A redemption story would be nice as he begins to recognize what is happening all around him. Jen's number 1 is Cody going AWOL. You can tell he made that decision long before Rampart confirms it. And yes, that quote about clones having control over decisions was so powerful. I love that. Again, those are earned because of the excellent character development we've had. Even with clones. It made them more compelling and complex than we ever would have dreamed when we saw Revenge of the Sith. Number 1 for Mary is Cody and Crosshair at the wall after the mission is over. I really think Cody gave Crosshair a lot to think about. Then when Crosshair finds out Cody's gone AWOL, the look on his face gives me pause, hoping this begins Crosshair's journey back to our group. I sure hope so. And how will they welcome him if it happens? Number 1 for Ben is the negotiations. What a tense scene. Cody was very convincing, but seeing what Crosshair and the Governor do is enough to turn Cody in that moment. His point to Crosshair was strong. At least Cody doesn't have to live with this choice. That's right. He made the right path, not the easiest one. Blake's number 1, all the dialogue between Cody and Crosshair had hinted on there may be a clone uprising at some point, which we theorized last season. Also had me asking so many questions about what's going on in Crosshair's head. I love this character so much. Is he your favorite clone? Daniel says, hey gang, all I had mine on CWK Cafe. Great. I think there's going to be a post. I think I scheduled it for 8 o'clock or 8:15 tonight. So you'll have a chance to put your top 5 in there. It's great to see you, man. Brian's number 1, CC2224. He's back. We'll see how he tests Crosshair before the mission and then ends up going AWOL and redeeming himself. I know. So cool. Ross says, is Cody actually AWOL, or did his hesitation get him in some nature of Imperial prison? Now, that's a good question. I hadn't considered that. Daniel's number one. You know what makes us different from the droids? We can make our choices. Yes, I love that too. That's definitely a highlight. Terry's honorable mention is the phrase Cody mentions that droids follow orders and clones that to live with their decisions or something like that. It's outstanding. Mary says, Ross, I wanted the same thing. I'm hoping he went AWOL. I hope so too. I don't want him to be prisoner. I feel like they would just not keep clones as prisoners, but maybe they would. I don't know. Jason's honorable mention the battle memorial on Coruscant and Cody bringing a knife to a gunfight. So cool, right? Which historically is not really the thing to do, but if you are a clone, obviously it's the perfect thing to do. I mean, Hunter has certainly made it an art form, and Cody is no slouch either. So next week, thank you everybody. I mean, truly, I think this episode I will put as among the best Star Wars animated individual episode ever made. I think it's that good. It really is fantastic. And next week, what do we have? Well, we're going to look at the new Bad Batch episode, which comes out Wednesday, January 18th. It is titled Faster. So be sure to join me next Tuesday night at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time for episode 204 of the Bad Batch, Faster. Ben agrees with me on that evaluation of the episode, and Ross also feels the same way and says it was a great episode. All right, let's take a look. No, we're not taking a look. We're just going to ask Dan Z. Ross playfully says, "Great answers, LJ." Yeah, LJ, where'd you go, man? We missed your feedback, your witty banter here. Minta agreed it was a powerful episode, and so does Daniel. Before we get into Ask Dan Z, I would definitely want to talk about the Mandalorian trailer, which we saw, but I also want to show you a clip from this week's Pour Over. Man, did we have fun. It ended up being two shows. It is our top 10 favorite singers. Again, CWK Pour Over is what members of the CWK Alliance have access to. It is a way for you to support me and the show, but you get exclusive content not seen or heard anywhere else. So you specifically got, you can see the video, or you can see or listen to the audio. This week we did our top 10 favorite singers inspired by the Rolling Stones article, which talked about the top 100 singers of all time. So, of course, we had to weigh in on that, and here's a clip. I'm going to start with my number 10, naturally, and I put Paul McCartney. Now, John Lennon might arguably be a better singer. He might have a better voice. But when I thought about this, when I listen to the Beatles, I don't sit there and just think, oh, wow, Paul's got a great voice. But Paul does have a great voice. He's so multi-talented. But as a singer, like when you hear Hey Jude, or even his solo stuff like Band on the Run, or back, from the White Album, Helter Skelter, even in the good old days, I saw her standing there. He just has this beautiful voice that is just like, when he sings a song about a lullaby, it sounds like a lullaby. He's just an amazing performer, but his voice is just so pure and unique, and it's instantly recognizable. The fact that he's been singing for 50, 60 years, and he still sounds magnificent with just a unique cadence to his voice. That's probably all the synonyms I'm going to have for all of this list, because I am by the least expert when it comes to singing. But Paul is number 10 for me, Paul McCartney. Yeah, there you have it, a little bit of a taste of me basically singing the praises of the great Paul McCartney. Again, Pour Over is fun because you can talk about Star Wars, and we do, but we just talk about all kinds of popular culture. It's really important to me if you're going to help support me financially, I want to give back with a special show. So that's why we do Pour Over every single week. Terry said, Mary wants to know me to give him thoughts on the Mando trailer. So that was amazing. I love the trailer. All the stuff, all the clips we showed, a lot of them were new, particularly the ending, which is awesome. I won't spoil if you haven't seen it yet. What I really like about the trailer the most, honestly, besides the ending, was that it didn't give away anything plot-wise. Just some wonderful, stunning visuals, lots more fresh Mandalorian armor, and people that are going to be working alongside Din Djarin. The inner workings of what it means to be a Child of the Watch or a Mandalorian overall. It's going to be great, and it's March 1st. It's not that far away. Terry, do you realize we'll finish with the Star Cruiser in just under 5 months? Sign up if you're considering it. Please do. We're 146 days away from the Star Cruiser event. And I've been thinking about it so much. I mean, really, I just can't wait. I mean, the Star Cruiser is so much fun. And living it with your favorite Star Wars people, my gosh. I'm going to put the little thing up here to taunt you and some more. Because... no, I shouldn't say taunt, I mean tempt. It's a no-cost, no-obligation quote. Speaking of, Daniel says he got his quote today from MEI. Wonderful, Daniel. I hope... See, I was so excited I went through puberty. Did you hear that? I hope that you can join us, man. It's going to be so fun. So much fun. Blake says that we need to have a singing competition. It really wouldn't be very interesting because I'm the worst singer, and I'm sure Tom's probably good. I don't know if Corey's a good singer now that I think about it. Ben says, we named my son Jude, and the next year Hey Jude was our top song on Spotify. My twins love the song. Dude, that is so cool. I love Hey Jude. So you must have heard the show. Or no, I guess you just heard the clip. But yeah, that's one of my favorite Paul songs. Josh says, Sir Paul is my mom's favorite Beatle. Either Paul or George Harrison is my favorite. You really can't go wrong. Ben says, I had a similar thought. Usually the second trailer is thick with details in the plot. This just felt like another teaser trailer. Stop teasing. I need this now. Yeah, and I that's cool. And I hope that we don't get any more trailers because I just want to just wait for the episode. Well, I get to watch Mando season 3 early too. You know, Ben, I don't know. Anything is possible in the Force. I truly don't know, but I'm open. I'm open for it for sure. Blake, did I watch any of the NFL wildcard matchups? The weekend did not disappoint. My Dolphins got eliminated, but it was so entertaining like all the other games. Blake, Mason and I watched every snap, every down of every NFL playoff game. We love the NFL. He and I love watching it together. It was very exciting. Last night's game wasn't much of a game, but it was still a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Everyone always gives me these wonderful opportunities to transition because we talk about fun things. It's fun to talk with all of you. It's fun to celebrate Star Wars with my CWK family. This is a great Star Wars community, and it's great because of each and every one of you. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. We have a nice crowd here, which is wonderful to see. I hope that you'll be able to join us next Tuesday night when we talk all about the next episode of The Bad Batch, episode 204. Let me put that up here again. That episode is going to be called Faster. Thank you again, always, everybody, for hanging out with us. It was so much fun. As soon as this is over, I'm going to record my review of the finale of Season 1 of Willow with Ross and Neil. They are back as we break down the final episode in Season 1 of Willow. I hope you'll join us on Thursday when that show drops. Mary, have a great week. Meantime, may the Force be with you. Jason, have a great week. And hi, Henrik, good to see you, my friend. Thanks for coming back. It was always great to have you. Ben, happy Bad Batch Eve. Have a great week and see you next time. Thanks so much, brother. Good to see you. Blake says, love my CWK fam. Tonight was so much fun, guys. Can't wait until next week. I can't either, dude. And hang in there. Dolphins got a lot of good things going for them. Jen's going to go watch that trailer a few more times. Thanks, all. Awesome. Yeah, Jen, I can't wait to hear your thoughts. Ross, cheers to you. Enjoy tomorrow's episode. We'll talk soon, buddy. Daniel, may the Force be with you. Hope that quote thing worked out for you, man. Ross said, Dan's such a great friend. He made me watch again. You're welcome. What can I say except you're welcome? Brian, have a great week, dude. Good to see you. Good to see all of you. Thank you, Josh. Take care. Let me know if you order that Indiana Jones figure. I will see you next time, friends. Be well.
This podcast is not endorsed by the Walt Disney Company or Lucasfilm Limited. It is intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. The official Star Wars website can be found at www.starwars.com. Star Wars, all names, sounds, and any other Star Wars-related items are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of Disney and their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of Coffee with Kenobi unless otherwise indicated.
This is the podcast you're looking for.